All right, folks, so yesterday we worked on activity 212, and in that activity, or not 212, I'm sorry, 213. And in that activity, you folks read 2 articles about texting and driving and why it's dangerous. And while we were reading those 2 articles, we went ahead and we looked for the persuasive appeals of ethos, logos, and pathos. So how would our having read those 2 articles, how would our having taken care of those persuasive appeals help prepare us to work on our argumentative essay? Go ahead and write your statement in your pink bookmark. All right, let's go ahead and move right along. I need you to go ahead and open up your Springboard to page 141. Take out your highlighter. And we're going to move straight into that subtitle, Debatable and Non-Debatable Claims. Now, we're not going to read the info. We're only going to highlight what we need. All right, so the first thing we're going to highlight, what is a debatable claim? All right, now a debatable claim is controversial, meaning that this claim or this statement can be argued. So some people might agree with it, and some people might disagree with it. Now, a non-debatable claim is going to be the opposite. It's not something that you can argue because it is a fact. All right? Now, taking those 2 pieces of information that we've highlighted, knowing that a debatable claim is a statement that can be argued, knowing that a non-debatable claim is a statement that is fact and can't be argued, let's move on to the 2 statements that are right below. So we got number 1 and number 2. First thing we're going to do, taking a look at number 1, it's telling us that we have to summarize the difference between a debatable and non-debatable claim. So go ahead, take a moment with the info that we learned and write a note about the difference between debatable and non-debatable claim. All right, let's go ahead and move to number 2. Number 2 says we need to write 1 debatable and 1 non-debatable claim based on topics. So our first topic says the amount of time teens spend using technology. So let's write a debatable claim first. Remember, debatable is something that can be argued. So here's a claim for that topic. Teens spend too much time with technology. Some people would agree with that. Some people would disagree with that. And notice, folks, that claim is based on the topic. All right, now in terms of a non-debatable claim, remember this is a fact. It can't be disputed. It can't be argued. Teens use technology in a variety of ways. Okay, so we've got a fact here. Can't be disputed. And again, it's based on the topic. Now, the second topic I'm going to have you highlight, and this one says the age at which someone should have a social media account. So what you've got to do is develop your own debatable and non-debatable claim. I'll give you about a minute and a half to do that. All right, now on page 142, just go ahead and turn your page here. You're going to see this huge spread and layout of what we're going to be doing next. Now, we're not going to be writing in our Springboard. Instead, we're going to be writing in our raw notebook. Don't cross any of this out, but keep page 142 out. And I want you to pull out your raw notebook. Let's go ahead and get our table of contents set up and ready to go. So today is going to be our 29th entry. Today's date, December 16th. And the main claims, counterclaims, arguments. All right. Now, today's entry is going to have 3 major parts to it. I'm going to walk you through each part, and each part has a different setup. All right? Let's get going. So this is going to be part 1. You're going to see on the slide exactly how I want you to prepare your notebook. Follow it. So you're going to take your notebook, and just like those lines are showing, we're going to turn it so our notebook's horizontal. And at the very top of this page, we're going to write the heading Part 1 Claims. And right below it, boom, we're going to make this huge chart. It's going to cover the entire page. It has 3 columns, 5 rows. I'll give you a minute to go ahead and do that. All right, now let's talk through what the heck are we going to be doing in each one of those columns. All right, now you're going to notice the directions are going to say copy the black text. Now before you do, I'm going to walk you through how to read this, okay? So don't copy it until I give you the go-ahead. All right, so you're going to notice the first row is entirely done, and that's what we're going to use to make sure you understand what to do. So the first topic states, schools should require students to wear uniforms. Okay, it's debatable. Some people would agree and some people would disagree. Now, in the middle column, it says we have to create a claim for one side of the argument. Okay, so the claim, or first claim for the topic of school uniform states, uniforms encourage an atmosphere focused on learning. So this claim, it is for our topic, and it seems to be a positive argument. So, hey, go to school uniforms. All right, now the column to the right says side 2 claim. Create a claim for the opposing side. So if the first claim was a positive one, probably the second one is going to be negative. It's going to be against the topic. So our second claim for the topic of school uniform says, uniforms restrict the rights of students. All right, now what you are going to have to do is for the remaining 3 topics, you have to develop 2 claims per topic. One that would be positive towards the topic, one that would be negative towards the topic. Go ahead and do that. Okay, now that you've had the time to do that, we're going to move on to part 2. Okay, so we're going to prepare our notebook, watch the paper, copy what you see. Notice how the notebook paper is now lined up vertical, so make sure to turn your notebook like so. All right, and we're going to be making 2 headings for this piece. The first one is going to say Part 2, Counterclaims. And about a third of the way down, we're going to write Part 3, Arguments. Now, you don't need a whole lot of space between Part 2 and Part 3. It's not halfway down, it's about a third of the way down. And right below it, boom, we've got another chart that's covering up about 2/3 of the page. Notice it has 2 columns, it has 6 rows, and with those 2 columns, the one to the left is much thinner than the one to the right, so make sure to do that. All right, we're going to go ahead and work on the Part 2 counterclaims. Don't worry if we don't have Part 3's chart 100% done, you'll see it again. All right, so for Part 2, what we have to do is we have to choose one topic from the first chart. So that first chart that we finished, you're going to pick one of those 4 topics. So maybe the one on uniforms or the one on social media. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to develop a counterclaim for that topic. Now, the reason I want you to make that counterclaim, what you're going to do is take this red sentence frame. You're going to copy that sentence frame into the Part 2 section of your notebook, so it'll go right there. And you're going to fill in the sentence frame based on the topic you chose from the first chart. All right, go ahead and do that. Now that you've had some time, we're going to move on to the final part. All right, and Part 3 was the arguments. Okay? Now with the arguments, here's the chart. The directions say to copy all of the underlined text. So all of that stuff that is in the parentheses, don't copy it. It's not underlined. Now the way to finish this chart, very simple. Notice all the way at the top, we're talking about the topic for our argumentative essay. Using a cell phone while driving is dangerous. So what we have to do is we have to develop 5 items. 1, we have to say who our audience is going to be for this topic. Who are we going to persuade for cell phones, driving, being a danger? Second and third, you're going to pull 2 reasons, 2 pieces of evidence from the articles we read yesterday, and you're going to apply that evidence to prove our topic using a cell phone while driving is dangerous. All right, 4th item, we have to develop a possible counterclaim. So what might someone argue against our claim using a cell phone while driving is dangerous? And lastly, the counter-argument. Now the counter-argument is us taking that initial counterclaim and proving it wrong. All right, folks, you're going to have the rest of the time to work on this chart. Let me know if you need any help.